Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel TechSet Blog. This is Surajit, and in this video tutorial we are going to build a RESTful API using Laravel and time on JWT authentication. So it will ask me, what is JWT? JWT is JSON Web Token. When a user logs in to the server will generate a token for the user if the user is authenticated. Then the authenticated user can view, create, modify and delete some restricted data. At first we need to install Laravel. So let me open Laravel documentation. So you can see the installation. So here you can see the requirement of this server, that is PHP, which is need to be 7.3 or greater, bcmeth PHP extension, C-type PHP extension, file info. This library need to be installed for PHP, and then the installing Laravel. So via Laravel installer. So you need to have a composer. So before downloading this Laravel installer, you should have composer. Okay, so using this command you can install this Laravel installer. Then you need to configure your profile. So if you are in a Windows platform, you need to create the environmental variable like this one, and if you are in a Mac OS, you need to export your profile in your bash rc or JSH rc to indicate that this is the point where your Laravel installer has been installed. Okay, and for the Linux distribution you can use this path, and then you can use this Laravel new blog. This blog is a project name, and the Laravel command will create a new Laravel framework in your project directory. So let me open the terminal and cd into the desktop, and in our desktop we are going to create new Laravel API. So our Laravel framework has been installed, so we need to cd into our project directory, so Laravel API. And if we need to see the project structure, you can see we have app, bootstrap, composer, .log, database, public, resources, server.php, webpack, mix.js, artisan, package.json, readme.md, routes, storage, vendor. Okay, and here if you visit this page jwt-auth.readthedocs.io en docs quick start, you will see how to install this JWT composer require time on JWT Auth, and here you can see some configuration for this JWT. So for this I am going to open my terminal and going to install using composer require, then time on JWT Auth develop prefer source, and hit enter. So this JWT package has been installed. Now we need to publish this JWT config. So what we need to do is we need to use this command php artisan vendor publish. Right here you can see from the 9 option, time on JWT Auth providers, Laravel service provider. So we need to select this 9th option and hit enter, and it will copy the file from config.php to config jwt.php. So I'm just going to clear this, and now we need to generate a secret code. So it will generate this secret code in our env file. So PHP artisan JWT Secret, and hit enter. And if you open this project in your text editor, I'm just going to use Vim. You can use Visual Studio Code or Sublime Text, and then you can open this env file, and here you can see JWT Secret. Okay, now as we are going to use our database, so we need to make some configuration right here. We are going to give the database name as Laravel API, the username is root, and the password is going to be password. Okay, and we are going to save this file. Okay, cd desktop Laravel API. Okay, right now we have this, and we need to open our config folder, then auth.php, and here we are going to use the default guard, that is API, and then in our API driver we are going to use the JWT, and rest is as it is. Okay, then we are going to open the routes folder, and inside the routes folder we are going to go to the api.php file. So we need to remove this, and after that we need to use route group, and then an array, a closure, and in our array we can use the middleware, which is our API middleware. Then we are going to use namespace, and the namespace is going to be app http controllers, and we are going to use a prefix. The prefix should be auth, and in our function we can use router, and then in our function block we can use route, then post. Here we are going to use 5 endpoints. So here first thing is login, then AuthController, then AuthController we are going to use login method, and paste 5 times, and then register, here we are going to use logout, which is a post endpoint, then profile. If user want to see their profile, they can use this profile, and the method of this HTTP method is going to be get and profile, and the last thing we are going to use refresh. We can refresh our token in a certain time using this refresh endpoint, which is going to be a post HTTP method, and we have this so far. And we can also use another thing, that is, you can copy this and paste here, and we are going to use API middleware, and we don't have any prefix, so we can only just use route resource, and then a to-dos endpoint, and then we are going to use TodoController. So as it will be resourceful controller, Laravel will identify everything that is stored, index, everything. Okay, so we will create TodoController later, and now we need to open our user.php model, and here we need to implement an interface. So the interface is JWTSubject, and it will auto import this JWT subject. And here you can see we need to use two methods, get JWT identifier and get JWT custom claims. And in our here you can see public function get JWT identifier return this get keys, and after that we need to use another method, that is get JWT custom claims return an empty array. So this is our user model, and we can save this file. Now we need to create an auth controller. So for this we need to go to our terminal. Here we're just going to make PHP artisan make controller auth controller and hit enter. And if we go to our http controllers folder, we can see authcontroller.php file has been created. So here we are going to use public function a construct method, and here we are going to use a middleware, that is Auth API, and then accept login and then register. So this accept means we are not going to use this auth API on our login and register. Okay, now after that protected function guard, and we are going to return auth facade. So auth facade and then guard. And then here we are going to use public function login and then request. Another thing, that is public function register, then request, and after that public function logout, public function profile, and then public function refresh. So in our login method we need to make a validator variable, and we need to import this validator facade. So illuminate support facades, and then we need to use a make method, and you can see here we need to pass data, which is an array, and the rules also be an array. So the data should be request all, and then an array for rules. So first thing is an email is required, and it should be email, and then password is required, and it should be string, and the minimum character of this password should be 6. Okay, now if validator fails, then we are going to return response JSON, that should be validator errors, and we are going to use 400 bad, which is bad request, or we can use yes, bad request. So if you want to know what is 400, this is going to be a bad request. So and then we are going to make another variable, that is going to be token validity. So we are going to use a one day validity for this token. So we need to multiply this 24 with 60 and it will convert into a minute. Now we need to use this guard and then factory and set TTL, and we need to pass this token validity, and then after that if not $token equal to this guard attempt validated, then if the user trying to enter wrong email or password, we need to show return response with JSON, and then here we are going to use the 401 status code, and then we are going to show error unauthorized. Then if everything goes well, we are going to use return this respond with token, and we are going to pass this token, make another protected function, that is protected function respond with token return response JSON. So here we are going to pass a token, which is a token, and then token type is bearer, and then token validity, that is we can use this guard factory get TTL into 60. It will show us in a second, so save this file. Now after login method, we can create our we can build our register method, use validator, then validator make request all, here we just need to use a name which is required. This should be string and between 2 to 100. Then email, this should be required, this should be email, and then it should be unique, so that we are going to only store unique email address. Okay, so unique from the users table, and the password required confirmed, minimum password character should be 6. Now if validator fails, then return response JSON, we are going to use 422, and then we are going to pass validator errors, this one, and if everything goes well, we just need to use user variable, then user create, then array merge, request, not this, validator, validated, and then an array which have a password, and then we are going to use bcrypt, and then we are going to use bcrypt function, and here we are going to pass request password. And then return response, JSON, then message user created successfully, and then user. So for the logout, you need to use this guard, then logout, return response, JSON, message user logged out successfully. And for the profile, we can return response, JSON, this guard user. And for the refresh, we need to return this respond with token, and we need to use this guard refresh. So we successfully created our auth controller. Now we need to create another model, that is Todo model. So we are going to create a Todo model, a migration file, as well as a RESTful controller, as we talked earlier. Now we need to use this command, that is php artisan make model, that is Todo with mcr option, and hit enter. So our migration file has been created, and in our database directory, in our migration, you can see we have this create to-dos table with a timestamp. Now here we are going to create table that should be string, title, then table text, that should be body, table boolean, that should be completed, and then table unsigned big integer should be created by, and then we are going to create a foreign key, table foreign, and here we just need to use created by, then references id on a table, the table name should be users, and on delete cascade. So after that we need to open our user model, because we need to use the relation. So public function todos return this has many. We are going to use Todo Model. So if we reload this Todo, Todo class, so Todo class, and then created by and ID. So you can see Todo class is the related model, and this one is a foreign key and this one is a local key. Local key means the primary key of this user model. Okay, now we need to open the refresh it. We can see the TodoController right here, and we can see that we have this index, create, store, show, edit, update and destroy. So this is a resourceful controller, and we just need to remove this create, then store we need show, we need edit, we don't need edit, so we can delete it. And now we need to create a protected property, protected user, and then public function construct, and then we are going to use this middleware, that should be Auth API, and then in our index function, and last we are going to use protected function guard return auth. So auth, we need to import this facade, and then auth guard, and after that right here after this middleware we are going to use user, not user, this user, this guard user. Okay, now in our index we can say todos this user, then todos get. Now we need to get title, body, then completed, then created by, and then we need to show it as a response. So return response JSON todos array. And after that we need to go to our store method. So we need to use validator. So validator eliminate support facades, make the request all, and then the title required string, body required string, then completed required boolean. We need only these 3 fields, and after that if validator fails, return response JSON with bad request, and that should be status false, and then errors, this not this validator errors, and then to do new to do, so let's see app models to do. So to do new to do, and then to do title request title, to do body request body, to do completed request completed, and then if this user to do's save to do return response JSON, status true, and then to do let's see why it's showing undefined type app models to do. No problem, we will see if any error arises when we use our Postman. Right now we are not going to use this show method, so we can remove this or we can keep this. So we can use return to do like this one, and then public function update, we can copy validator, then you can copy this, and if this error, okay, now if anything goes wrong after if statement, else return response JSON status equal to false, message oops, the to do could not be saved. So we can copy this and paste it after the if statement like this, and here replace the save to updated, and for the destroy we can use if $to-do delete, then we can use this response status true, to do, and then this else block, copy, message false, status false, and then could not be deleted. This is so far. Now we need to open our Postman, which is a RESTful API client. So you can search in from Google for Postman API, download Postman, and you can use the Postman app, download the app for Linux. Here you can see, so I already installed it, and I'm going to open this Postman. And after that I just need to go to the command line and use php artisan serve. So it will start a development server in this 8000 port. So you can copy this, and in our Postman we can close this, and here we just going to open this tab, and here we can paste it, and we can use post method, and then if we send this, so before doing that we need to make it as API auth login, send, and you can see email, the email field is required, password, the password field is required. So we can make it as body form data, or we can use a raw data also. So email, and we're going to use a wrong email, and password is password, and then press send. Okay, we need to use a header, so header accept application JSON, okay, unknown database Laravel API. So we need to open our terminal. Here we need to do is php artisan migrate. Okay, we are in a public folder, so we need to go to the project folder. So php artisan migrate unknown database Laravel API. So again we need to go to the local host. We are going to use the php main GUI, and here we need to close Laravel API, then UTF-8 general CI, create. Okay, this database has been created, so we can go to our we can make this again. So php artisan migrate, then we need to see that we have this users table which have ID, name, email verified add, password, member token, created add, and updated add columns. And another thing we have, that is to dos. The structure you can see, we have ID, title, body, completed, which is a tiny int, which is a boolean and we need to make it as default to 0, because when any user creates a to do, that should be by default 0, which means completed is false. So we can go to our migration file, we can open this file, and completed, we are going to make it the default value as false. So false means 0, and here we can make the fresh migration. And now if I now go to structure, you will see the default is 0 right now, and the created by, you can see this has an index which is to do's created by foreign for the foreign key. And if you want to see, let's see relation view, you will see the to do's created by foreign created by this column. The database is Laravel API, table is users table, and the related column is ID. Okay, now we need to go to our project folder. So here you can see we have our database directory, and inside the database directory we have a factory. So we can use this factory, user factory, and we can remove this and use bcrypt, and inside it we are going to use default as password. You can use 1 2 3 4 or anything else. I'm just going to use password and save it. And for the to do for the to do's table, we are going to use php artisan make factory to do factory. Now reload. Here you can see we have this return array. So here we are going to use title as this faker sentence, then body this faker paragraph, then completed, we are going to use a random from 0 to 1, and then created by with random of 1 to 10. So this one, and after that we need to use a tinker shell. So for this php artisan tinker is a php shell. So you can see psy shell, version is 0.10.4, and it is using 7.4.3 php version, and it is made by Justin Heilman. And the best thing about Laravel is a tinker. Using tinker you can modify your data without using any routes. Okay, so here we are going to use a model. So the model is located in app models, then user, okay, user, and then factory, and then count. We are going to create 10 users 10 dummy users, and then create, hit enter. So you can see that we have 10 dummy users in our users table. So if you go to the Laravel API, then open users table, you will see this 10 dummy users has been created. Now we can clear this. Now we need to make another to do factory, that is to do. You can use app namespace, but we can also use to do. So it will understand we are going to use the to do model, and it will check for the alias for this, and to do, then factory, and we can pass 50 right here, then create, hit enter. You can see aliasing to do to app models to do for this tinker session. So it created as 50. You can see the ID is 50, and the created by 2, you can see the randomly generated as well as completed 0, then completed 1. Okay, now if you visit your Laravel API database, then open the to dos table, you will see this 50 entry has been populated in our database. So if I make this as 100, so our 50 entries inserted by this tinker shell, we have used the factory. And now you can clear this, and you can type exit and hit enter to exit from the tinker shell. Now here we just need to go Laravel API, then go to users, and we can copy this, and in our Postman we can use the email, send it. Okay, undefined variable token in our AuthController.php. So in which 43, line number 43, this respond with token. Okay, the problem is this should be token. There was a typo. So you can see the token is right here, and we have this token type BRR, and we have the token validity 864,000, which is in a second. So if I search it in our Google, so at seconds, so 864,000 seconds to hours, which is 24 hours, so 1 day. Okay, and token type is BRR. But if we make this as wrong, like this one, this says error unauthorized. Okay, and you can replace this and send it. We have this token. Now if we can duplicate this, duplicate tab, and then we can use get parameter, and we need to see auth user and auth profile, and then we need to send this, but it will show another unauthenticated message because we didn't specify this token. So in two way you can use this. So the way is token. In three way we can use this token. So token, this parameter you can pass, send it, so you can see the current user. And another thing you can use is a post method. You can use body. So let's see if you can send it as token, and paste it. Let's see if it's work or not. Okay, it's working, but if we make this none, unauthenticated. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this, and we can also use another method, that is authorization header. You can use this BRR token, then here you can paste it and send it. You will see this user information. Okay, now if I duplicate this tab and then if we want to get a refresh token with a post method, so you can see we have this token. Now as the as the token has been generated, so if you use the previous old token, you will see unauthenticated message, because our previous token has been removed and our new token has been generated. So you can copy this and paste it right here. Now if you want to log out, so log out, so send message is unauthenticated, the authorization you can pass it right here, send. Okay, user logged out successfully. Now we need to see if register is working or not. So for this we can duplicate this tab and we need to make it as register, and from the body you can use form data or raw as JSON format, and email, and we are going to use name as Surajit Basa, and then here test@gmail.com. now here you can see if I say press send button, it will not work. Validate require validator. Okay, this is not working, so let's see in our AuthController. Validator make request all. Okay, validate, this should be required, I made it required, so save this file, send. So the password confirmation does not match, so we also need to use password confirmation is password. Okay, now if I delete this, if I send this, see this validator saying that the name field is required, the email field is required, the password field is required. Okay, now if I send this right now, user created successfully, this one. Okay, so if I send again, the email has already been taken. Now if I log in with this test@gmail.com, send, you can see we have this token generated from the server. So here we have this endpoint so far. Now we can log in again and copy this token and paste it here and here also, and you can make this as auth. Well, now we are going to use a to-dos, and then this should be get an authorization, send. You can see all the to-dos which is created by the currently logged in user. So we have these two to-dos, and then we can duplicate this, and we can use post method to create a new we can use form data or raw JSON format. So here title and the title is this is a title. Second thing is description, not description, body is going to be this is a body. Then completed is false. Okay, now if I send it, let's see what happens. Status true, to do title, this is a title. So if I go to the this endpoint, to do's endpoint, send, so we have another thing, that is title, this is a title, but we can't see the current ID of this to do, so we can change it. So go to the to-do's controller, and after the to-do's controller, here we need to pass an ID parameter also. Okay, send. We have this ID 41, 43 and 51, so we can create a new to do. So we can also update to do, so we can duplicate this tab, and then we can make this as put, then to do's, and then the 43 I think. So let's see, 41, 43, and then we need to use our body. The title is this is the title, completed is true, and let's see, 43 is completed 0, and you can make it as title edited, body edited, send. So you can see we have the status true, and it output the current updated to do. So if we go to the get parameter, so 43 title edited, body edited. Now last thing, we need to delete this 43, so duplicate and then make it as delete, and body is none, and if I send this, status true, 43 title edited, this is going to be deleted. Now if I go to the get, so right now it is 43, if I send it, so 43 is gone. So in this tutorial you have learned how to make a Laravel API using JWT authentication, and you have also saw some cool things like Tinker, factory method, also how to create resourceful controller using MCR option when you are going to create a new model. So it is there are lots of cool things in Laravel. So thanks for watching. Hope this tutorial will help you. Please subscribe my channel for the upcoming video tutorials, and don't forget to like this video if you think it helps you. Thanks for watching.